everybody. Welcome to a new series. Over the last few weeks, me and Adrian shot episodes together, and you guys took really, really well to them. For the most part, we dubbed it as just like two guys talking, right? And what we decided to do, well, what we didn't decide to do, really, it was we have a couple of guys in marketing. One guy's name is Nick, the other one is Alex, whose combined age is actually less than mine, a couple of young kids, that basically said, look, we're going to make something new. So imagine you and Adrian sitting around, grabbing a drink, having a cigar per se, late at night after dark. And again, you guys just do what you want to do. We'll give you things to talk about. You guys can talk about things on your own, et cetera, et cetera. And they said, hey, I think this is going to be better because in one episode, yes, we're going to make it longer, but in one episode you can cover various topics so it doesn't get old, right? Market updates, what we bought, and so on and so on. We're still going to go through all that, maybe not as much in detail, which is why you see a bunch of watches here. But the first thing we're going to do is one of us is going to have to bring a drink, and since I'm older, I decided to go first. So this time, I'm going to go with this. All right, so start with drinks.
Good old Macallan 18.
No ice. Don't want to ruin this drink. Now, Russians would like to drink to something. We don't just drink, so I guess let's drink to our new series. All right. Some things from the industry news. Let's talk about Sylvester Stallone's collection going up for auction. Now, according to Hypebeast, Sylvester Stallone is putting his watches up for auction in Phillips December 20th, I think. I didn't really find anything online about, and I know you did research too in regards to, is this something that he's doing for charity? Is this something that he's doing on his own? Nowhere on Phillips does it say that they're actually Stallone's watches. Now, I do know he owns all these watches. That's a fact.
No, for sure. Based on the collection that they displayed there, I've seen him wearing those watches via Instagram.
Right, I know he owns them because he promoted them, and it's no secret that he's an ambassador for Richard Mille.
One of them was actually his. They made for him.
But the Rambo one, right?
Yeah.
But do you think he paid for them?
No.
You have to think about that. So let's go through the watches. I know that on my notes, the first Richard Mille that's on there is, the watch that they dub what kind of watch Rambo would wear. And that's the 2501, this humongous thing that looks like it has a compass, a Wi-Fi router, and a fax machine attached to it.
He has a red dot and a scope on that thing for sure. And ammo.
For sure.
But it's definitely your type of watch.
Now they're saying, we talking about I couldn't put that thing around my neck. It's humongous.
Yeah, but it fits the bill, the guns and everything. The military background.
True. So the RM2501, right? They make 20 of them. They're saying that it's expected to fetch $250,000 to $500,000. Thoughts? My Richard Mille expert.
It's for sure going to fish above the 250 mark. 500 is probably more or less where it's going to be. I think the retail on it was around 900.
Now, when it first came out, I remember we talked about it in the office. Like, that's a dog. Nobody's going to buy that thing. And look, consistently within Richard Mille's, majority of the higher end stuff, the Tourbillons and things like that, they actually sold at a discount because they're so freaking expensive out of the gate. Were we offered one when they first came out?
We were. The problem with that watch is the massive size that it has, right?
It's 51
There's not that many wrists, I would say, for it. Now, on top of that, it's close to $1 million. So you got to find a big guy who's willing to spend a lot of money. And it's also not the run-of-the-mill Richard Mille. It doesn't really look like
it's round. That's its biggest issue.
It's round with other round components attached to it.
So if you had to guess, now Phillips, I think, charges a 24%.
Oh, yeah.
24% buyer's premium. So
that's a couple $100,000 on.
So almost. Let's put a number on what it will fetch all in, you think?
Me break out my calculator. So buyer's premium figures about 24%.
Forget buyer's premium. What would you pay for it? We'll figure the buyer's premium backwards.
If I was hitting a hammer, I would pay $300,000 for it.
So $300,000 plus, let's say 25% buyer's premium. So you're looking at, so you want to pay $380 for this watch about.
Yep.
Right? Well, we all know it's going to fetch a lot more than that. And if at some point they're going to mention that it's tied to Sylvester Stallone, and
again, whoever's going to bid on this watch, I would say chances are it's not going to be a dealer for resale. It's going to be somebody.
It's going to be a private.
It's going to be a private. So for us to buy this watch, we would literally have to sit and wait for the right person, if they're even out there.
Next piece, now this is a good one. This is one of those high-end pieces that actually does fetch buku dollars, and that's the 5201, which is the skull. It's a black ceramic with a rose gold skull inside, right? Yeah. If you were, I'm not going to tell you what the estimate is.
Yeah.
If you were to write a check for that watch today, what would you buy it for?
$700,000.
You would write. See, they estimated this $350 to $700.
Yeah,
which means
way over.
It's gonna fetch way over. So break out the calculator. If I were to buy it, 700 times 0.76. So I would want to end my bidding at about 532 to pay 700 for it today, and we would resell it for probably 8. And this thing, I bet you fetches.
So again, sorry, that's 700,000 all in.
All in. I got you. So that means that if we were to buy that for 700 and resell it, say for around 8, you're looking at a buyer that can potentially go up to, let's see, for a retail buyer, they could potentially go up to times 0.76. They can bid up to about 608, 609. Yeah, to make sense. There's another RM, which is the Johann Blake Tourbillon. Not a good seller. The Tourbillon was never a good seller. The regular Blake was a good seller all the time.
So they had a few. So this is the 5901. It's hard to explain what the case is. How it looks. It's a very, very odd.
Crooked as
forget about the fact that it's crooked. It's like a not a leopard print, but it's almost like a camo something brown, weird, like it fell in the dirt type of weird color. But if I had
like that fell in the dirt type of weird color. Again, this is one of the earlier Tourbillons. The further back you go, not counting today. Today is exceptional time in terms of everything is fetching buku dollars. Everything has gone up, right? Even the old Tourbillons that used to be able to pick up for 120,000, they're now over 200, right? So, but back in the day when this first came out, this alongside with the Bubba Watson Tourbillon, right? Yep. They didn't do so well. No. I remember I was buying a Bubba Watson Tourbillon closer to 30 off, or 35 off even, right? And same was the fate for this. Now they're estimating this thing's 300,000 to 600,000.
Yes.
Do you remember what the original list on it was?
I don't.
I want to say 640.
Yeah, something like that.
So
if this watch was to come out today, like if they just re-release this watch, let's say a 5901 or whatever.
Well, the retail would be $200,000 more.
Exactly. It absolutely.
It'd be closer to $1 million. But what do you think realistically this would? What would you pay for it?
I would pay all in somewhere around the 400 mark.
Somewhere around the 400 mark, and you'd be selling at what, 460, 480? Yeah. So, which means to a retail client, if this is a watch we could potentially sell for that price, and let's bump it up, let's make it 500. Potentially, a retail buyer is going to have to pay $380,000 hammer price, which after buyer's premium would be that $500,000 mark. And last but not least, and this is actually no, one more Richard Mille, RM32 in titanium. That's the watch. That's the.
Is it titanium or rose gold?
No, it's titanium. That's the one he wore in Expendables. By the way, do you like the Expendables?
I like the Expendables.
Oh,
Expendables. Like the Expendables.
What did I say?
He's like Expendables.
Oh, you don't like the Expendables?
No,
that's a new series. Oh, it makes fun of me. See, he was born in this country. I wasn't. Can you tell the difference? So the Expendables. Do you like the Expendables?
I like the Expendables.
I love the Expendables. I love the Expendables. That's up. Let's have another drink. I'll drink to that.
Oh, there he goes.
I'm cut off.
And anyway. Laundry tomorrow.
So let's talk about the watch. Now, this is a dog, right? An RM32 titanium.
I disagree.
Well, it was a dog for the longest time. Up until now, the current hype on Richard Mille slowly came up. I mean, we couldn't give that watch away for $60,000, I remember.
Yeah.
Last one was sold, I think, for $85,000 pre-owned.
That was a while ago. That was a long time ago.
What's a long time ago? 6 months ago, maybe?
No, more than 6 months.
Really? We haven't had one in that long?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so look, last one we sold.
You're talking 28. We're talking about the non-chrono.
No, I'm talking about chrono. The RM32.
I'm saying just the regular non-chrono is bringing damn near 60,000.
Which is a watch we couldn't get away for $40,000, right? Yeah. But what's the market price today on RM32 box papers?
RM32 titanium box papers, give or take about $85,000 to $100,000.
85 to 100 retail wholesale.
Pending,
so now they're estimating this thing 60 to 125.
Yeah, it's a fair estimate.
So I mean, I don't think it's going to go up to 125.
60 is way too cheap. If it is 60,000, we should bid on it.
Now, unless there is an announcement made, well, technically the announcement is there, right? Hypebeast is
it's already all over Google's on Wall Street Journal.
Exactly. So it's all there. I'm just surprised how that information came out and why Phillips is not actually announcing that these are his personal watches. Because if they did that, again, I actually did an episode the other day where I said, people asked me about, Robert Downey Jr. gave away a Rolex to his staff on the set of The Judge or whatever. It doesn't matter what the movie was, right? So the guy reaches out to me. He's like, listen, I got this watch. It says here that this auction is selling it, and they're saying that this was given to somebody. And I said, you know what? It's just a regular watch. It's a gimmicky, maybe gimmick it to you. There's no kind of letter of authenticity with it, so it's not like you can say, oh, this is the watch that was handed down to where to go. There was an old episode of Married with Children Again Before You Were Born where they went to a town hall and they went to meet the man that met Andy Griffith. So this is kind of like that same thing, you know what I mean? Like, go meet the man that met this man, you know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't do anything. But somebody like Stallone is a much bigger deal because it's watches that he wore in these movies, right?
For sure.
It's watches. They're also doing the Holy Grail Panerai, right? The PAM 5218, which is the original Daylight watch, right? The one he wore in the movie Daylight. Now that's a big deal watch. That put Panerai on the map. That was the one watch that created a million Paneristas around the world. You know what I mean? So something like this, by putting his name behind there, I would expect these things to fetch anywhere from 10 to 20 extra % premium just because they are his watches. Anyway, what else we got? We got eBay released their top 10 most expensive watches sold on eBay this year. And this is according to Watch Pro.
Yeah, we sold both of them.
Yeah, we did. So extra 3, right? So another Holy Grail Panerai, okay, which is the PAM 21. This is again pre-Vendome, fetched $125,000. Very believable, full set. Not something I would put my money into today because I think Panerai has been kind of slowly but surely dying off, and a lot of those older. Listen, we have the Angelus movement, the PAM 203. I watched that at one time, fetched $160,000. We sold it for, let's say, 50 something.
How about the Mare Nostrum that we had?
No, that's a remake. That we couldn't get rid of that dog. But Lang & Son took second place with a rose gold double split chrono, right? $98,000. A little on the high side. We've sold that watch for less than 100 units.
That's a strange sell. I feel like there's enough of those on the internet, especially cheaper.
Yeah,
probably listed, which is kind of begs the question: how did it sell?
I mean, again, they're listing these things as auctions that were ran, right? You drinking faster than me, bro. We still have some talking to do.
A lightweight.
Yeah, right.
A lightweight.
So if this was in an auction environment, oftentimes in an auction wise, you get people start bidding back and forth, and you get two guys in a room and they want to show whose cock is bigger, and that's kind of how it goes. But the third one is an interesting one, and that is the Harry Winston Ocean Dual Time All Baguettes, right? Sold for $98,000, which I know for a fact we had that watch in rose gold, we had that watch in white gold, and we wholesaled them both brand new.
$70,000
for $70,000. So it could very well be somebody. I don't think it's the guy we sold it to that put it on eBay. Maybe it is.
Who knows?
It's still a decent deal because that watch I remember retail for $269 or $279, something around in the high twos. So technically you bought it at a third of a price, which isn't bad. And speaking of which, we just talked about this. A Rolex from 1983 Olympic Trap Grand Prix fetches just under $12,000 at Fellows auction, or 10,000 British pounds. You know this guy, right? Former professional shooter Peter Croft finished third place in the British Olympic Trap Grand Prix.
Of course.
It was given this watch as a prize. Do you know it, Peter Croft?
Of course. Lara Croft.
You just stole my line, bro. I don't even know what the British Olympic Trap Grand Prix is. I'm assuming it's trap shooting, right? With shotguns. So I guess I should know all this.
That's right up your alley.
Now, so basically, before the fees, this was $8,600. After fees, it became $12,000. Now, the watch itself was the 16750 GMT. Yeah. What's it worth today retail?
$8,500.
$8,500. Yeah. So somebody paid an extra $3,000 again in an auction environment for a guy that took third place in the British Trap Grand Prix. I wouldn't pay an extra $3,000. It's just, I don't know. It's just, would you? I mean, no, Lara Croft.
Oh yeah, I pay premium.
Different ball.
Definitely premium.
Angelina Jolie, at least 50% premium right there. 100% premium, sure. If anything. All right, let's talk about. We brought out a bunch of watches, and I see you bought nothing but Rolex this week. I mean, come on, you're trying to make your life easier. What did you buy?
So we got a ladies two-tone Rolex Datejust 36mm 126233 model. Market price about $12,000 in this condition.
Can I stop you?
Yep.
We wouldn't be caught dead 3 years ago even stocking these pieces. And right now, I had 3 or 4 calls today on plain Jane 36mm Rolexes. Yeah, two tones, plains, diamond dolls, no diamond dolls. And I know that if they want them brand new, my best bet out there is to get maybe 7% off. So I'm forced to sell these things at retail.
Bro, you're talking two-tone.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about steel.
I know. And we're talking about two-tone.
We talking about
two-tone, right? Yeah. Steel, forget about it. Steel, it's list and up now. Yeah. It's gotten to a point where, like I said, I would not, nor would Adrian be caught dead stocking these things. Why? Because they were readily available to
us. This was a 25% off piece, always.
I mean, I think it was more, 27, 28.
Something like.
I mean, look, if you really needed to, you could brand new. You can find
non-diamond bezel, 25% off. Let's call it.
What's next?
Next, we got the two-tone root beer GMT. Market price around in this condition just came this month, around $18,500 to $19,000.
What's retail?
14 and change.
Honestly, that's the one.
I actually really like that watch.
I know that's the one watch.
Really
I would actually justify that. Hold on, let me take this off because honestly, to date, I think this is the best looking two-tone Rolex out there.
I am a huge fan of this. Actually,
I think that's the best looking two-tone Rolex ever made. Period. What's
fair play?
Now this guy.
So we got the green OP, the green Oyster Perpetual 41 millimeter.
You bought the blue one last week. That's gone. Love that green.
Yes.
Let's talk about how much it sells for.
Pending condition between 95 to 10,000. Stickers, no stickers, depends what months, whatever.
$5,800 list.
Exactly.
Next.
This is the new 124060 sub no date. I actually had to take a second look in case it was standing next to the 40 millimeter. This is the 41 millimeter.
How do you know? Mix them up.
This is the 41 millimeter, market price of about 11.5.
And then the next one is the 40.
And then the next one, I got to take a look at it again. This is the 40 millimeter.
Notice you have to look at the tags.
It's impossible.
You cannot tell.
It's impossible.
You cannot tell them apart.
Better yet. Well, why don't we put the two? Why don't we put the two sub dates next to each other?
There you go.
So here we have.
Which one is which?
Here we have a 40. No, 40. Here we have a 41. As you can see, same watch.
Yeah, it is the same.
So we got a market price on the no date at 11.5. Give or take on the sub date. This is a 2017 one. Actually, just sold.
How do
today.
you remember all this?
It's only 9 Rolexes. It's not much to remember.
Well, you did buy them all.
I did go to college. Didn't finish.
His career got rudely interrupted by employment at Luxury Bazaar. Yeah. Anyway.
So we got a sub date here, 2017 market price of around 11,000 mark. We have the 41 millimeter sub date market price of about 12,513 pending condition. This is the 40 millimeter two-tone, not to be confused with the new 41, which looks also
exactly the same. So and what's that? Is that still like 13 and a half?
This is it's brand new. It's actually on consignment. It's $14,000 piece. I let it go for $14,000 today. This is the Sea Dweller Red, the 43 millimeter. I actually really like this piece.
I like the size of it, and I like that the case.
People argue that it kind of looks like a sub from far, but
it doesn't. You can tell what it is.
You can tell a sticker, and the red actually does.
I like the fact that it's not like the deep sea, so it's not super thick.
It's not super thick.
It doesn't look stupid.
It's just right. So this is actually pretty cool. Market price of $13,000. It's a 2008 model.
What was the retail on it?
12 and change.
So it's still over list.
Yeah. And here we have the 41 millimeter Datejust 41, blue Roman dial, fluted bezel, carries a premium.
Of course it does.
10% over list.
Okay, well, I see you put your money into Rolexes, and then by the time this episode airs, you'll probably have another 15 different Rolexes, and all of these will be gone. But, real quick, how much did you invest here? Give me a rough figure.
A little bit over $100,000.
And what do you think you're going to make?
5% profit margin.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Last year we averaged out to 4.8% average margin, or 4.7% average margin.
But it doesn't matter because I can flip these 20 different times before I sell 2 of these.
Speaking of where I put my money this weekend, I love tourbillons. I love different things. I love off-the-wall stuff that's seemingly unsellable. At least that's what he says until it sells at a much better margin. And speaking of tourbillons, this guy, Harry Winston tourbillon. This is actually white gold PVD, right? Limited edition, I think they made 25 of these. Original retail price on this watch was up around $180,000.
You cannot find any information about this piece.
I know.
Is really super rare.
Yeah, because they only made so few. But they made so many different ones of those. They made it in Azalea, they made it in gold, they made it in PVD titanium.
With the all blackout on this is killer to me.
I like it. You know what? When it was offered to me, I thought it was done aftermarket.
I thought it was DLC. It is. Is it DLC or PVD?
It's PVD. So I thought this was done aftermarket when it was first offered to me. So I asked the guy, I'm like, so it's Xalium. He's like, no, it's white gold. I'm like, but it's PVD. Somebody put PVD. He's like, no, this is how it was done. I looked it up. Sure enough, this is one of the additions they did. But look, you can't beat it. This tourbillon is going to be under $40,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can't beat it.
Absolutely.
Bulgari Turb.
That's a Bulgari?
That is a Bulgari.
Let me see this.
Beautiful watch.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see if we can zoom in on this. It's like a semi-crystal, right? Let's do that. Yeah, let's zoom in on that. Fully skeletonized. Semi-crystal, fully skeletonized. Again, a watch that's going to be around that $40,000 price mark. I just like the way this looks. Although it's very scary because looks-wise, the green reminds me of, remember with those 100 or major ohms we used to own? that we couldn't sell forever. They had to go with the green markers.
Well, funny enough, I kind of thought that was like a Romain Jerome, Christophe Claret, some off the wall thing.
It's not.
It doesn't even look typical Bulgari.
I bought what's probably the coolest dual time watch on the market. Now you're going to let me just zoom in on that. Now you're going to ask Roman, where the hell is the zoom time? Well, let me show you. This is actually a convertible, right? Boom.
Drop the top.
And there's your second time zone, right? So these are two separate watches with two separate movements from Piaget. And it's a watch that retails for quite a bit of money. It's a watch that retails for $48,000, believe it or not. Because technically you are getting a two for one, right? But again, having bought it at what I bought it and having the ability to sell this watch for less than half price, something I could not pass up on. Got another hour striker. I know you're going to roll your eyes because, hour strikers don't exactly sell fast, but we managed to sell three, and I sold like 3 hours.
We managed to sell them because people know we have them.
Yeah.
If somebody's looking for them, they know where to go. They know to go to Luxury Bazaar. Usually has it. So.
All right. So I bought an older hour striker from Elise and Nardine. Again, a watch that's originally retails over $100, something that today will sell around that $30,000 price range. Again, complications for your dollar, right? Notice there's not a single piece on here that I said that's even over $50,000, right? And this is the kind of deals I look for. This is the kind of things I like to put my money in because there's real value there in terms of horology, in terms of name. You got big names. Harry Winston, Bulgari, Piaget, Ulysse Nardin. And last but not least, this is actually a set. And I've often talked to you guys about, let's get this guy out of the way. I often talk to you guys about sleepers, right? And I'm big on identifying what's going to happen in the future. Even though I always tell you I don't have a glass ball, but having been in the business for so long, you tend to get a feel for things. It's hard not to get your own personal feelings involved sometimes. Sometimes I do buy dumb and it's just Never. Because I liked it. Yeah, I do. There's a few in the safe.
Really?
Yeah, we can bring them. There's a few. But in either case, we all make mistakes. But in my opinion, these are your sleepers. Audemars Piguet as a brand overall, to me, has gone from 0 to 100, and it's catching up alongside with Patek Philippe as far as collectability. No, I didn't say Rolex. Nobody's ever going to catch up to them. But again, this is a little bit different level, different price range.
All right.
So these old school automatic tourbillons in a jewels case. Note the lugs are actually a little bit reminiscent of Vacheron. See that? But in either case, supposedly made an addition of 50 pieces each. Now, I've bought and sold the yellow gold for probably as low as $25,000, as high as $40,000, right? And this is where this yellow gold has always sat, around anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000. And it was just stagnant. And it blew my mind that this automatic turb from Audemars with a power reserve indicator and all those wonderful things, addition of 50, I think these are pretty low numbers. I think all these numbers are under 20. Each watch is individually numbered. It always blew my mind. And then I realized that, look, I haven't seen them in the market for a while. So
What year would you say they are?
This is 80s.
These are 80s. So I think they aged extremely well. With
they did.
Case size and everything.
And that's another thing. You made a good point. Case size. We're going back down to smaller case sizes right now. So I felt like this. If you take these and put them side by side, I mean, look at the size difference. These things are. This thing is a monster in comparison to it, right? But we're coming back down to those smaller sizes. And here's what I've always found. I found a bunch of these yellows. Right here. I found a bunch of these yellows. I bought them, sold them, and again, they sort of stay stagnant. Once in a blue moon, a rose gold would pop in. I love the rose because I love the dial. You love the Salmon dials. That's your so I know you like this watch. What I haven't seen, maybe once in my career, is the platinum version. And I had an opportunity to put together a set. Last video that aired, I talked about sets. So this now is a complete set. You will not find a complete set of these ever. So to me, these guys are sleepers. And I actually, by the time this video airs, most likely they won't be around because I actually reached out to a very good client of ours. And I told him, I said, I think you should put your money into this and see me in 3 years because this is, as a set, now we're going to order all the archive papers for it. We have the proper boxes for them and everything else. But as a set, this is something that's going to be that next breakout. Audemars Piguet as a brand is going to be a breakout. My 5402, right? The A0. Yeah. Paid 40 grand for it. 85,000. I saw one offered in one of the chats, and it was nowhere near the condition mine was in. The ones with surface dials are fetching upwards of 60 now, and for one that I had and sold, it'd probably fetch 100,000 today. I think AP overall as a brand is getting up there in terms of collectability. People are starting to recognize it as the brand, and rightfully so. These are the guys that started with complications. Yeah, their first watches were minute repeaters and perpetual calendars, things like that they made for Tiffany's pocket watches and stuff like that. So this is what they do. This is what they've always done. And I think these are sleepers. And I think, as much as I hate to call them investment watches, but in my eyes, these are investment opportunities.
Fair enough.
Adrian, your thoughts?
So my thoughts on them, again, I'm a sucker for salmon or anything in this honey gold color. That's just my color. I don't know. I love it. You're telling me that they're from the 80s. Like I mentioned, I think they aged extremely well. I mean, they look pretty dope. I think if AP was going to make another remaster, this would age pretty well. Like it is an aesthetically pleasing watch, because I've seen AP actually have older tourbillons. They just don't look that good to me. These actually look really good.
You know what else? You notice anything missing on them?
Do I notice anything missing on them? They don't have a crown. Am I right?
You're right, but they do have a crown, and
in the back, right?
The crown is
Right,
actually
cool.
in the back. Let me show you
Really
guys
cool, yeah.
the back. The crown is.
Oh, so that's how you
there
wind
in
that.
the back. Exactly. Oh, this one is
Very
number.
cool.
This one is number 20. So this is where I put my money. I want to ask you one last thing. What are your thoughts on sets?
What are my thoughts on sets? I'm not. Look, me and you always have these arguments because Roman is historically a hoarder of things. If you look in his office, he's got sets of everything. Sets of anything from alcohol to forks to guns to you name it. You know. So I'm not really it's not really my thing to collect. So sets is not really my thing. I just don't. You know, unless you're putting your money into for investment purposes, thinking that it's going to go up in time. I'm not a fan of collecting sets, but if I saw value in it, yeah, I like it as a set. But overall, sets.
But the best thing about watches as sets, especially the ones that you put together, right? Not like that Mega Trilogy set. I mean, you haven't seen that video that's coming out next Thursday, but that Mega Trilogy set came as a set. Although you can buy them separately as well. But the best thing about watches, I feel like, when you're putting together sets, and same goes for guns. When I buy certain sets of guns, like certain variations of guns or different configurations of them, you can still sell them off one by one, and that's really the upside. But I feel like together, when you have it together and you find that other collector out there, whatever it is you might be collecting, as a set already put together, that will sing to them. All right, speaking of likes and dislikes, any stories to tell?
Likes and dislikes about what, Roman?
About our industry and some of the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes. I know you got stories.
So I got stories for days about things that are going on in the industry, things I just pricing.
Me and him were actually talking about last week about doing like an entire segment of deals gone bad, and some of you guys actually asked questions like that. And Adrian is fucking notorious for going wrong with. Can I tell one story, please?
Go ahead.
All right. So about a year ago, right? About a year to a year and a half ago.
I think I'm gonna need a drink for this.
Yeah, you're gonna need a drink for that one. About a year and a half ago, right? Adrian sells his stuff on WhatsApp groups, on WeChat groups. You know, it's all virtual today because he does a lot of B2B, right? So Instagram, people hit him up on Instagram all the time. He's got a Rolodex of dealers probably that's a mile long, right? And he met a dealer in Hong Kong, and he sold him, what was that white arm?
It was an RM11 white ceramic Asia edition. I think this is the watch you're talking about.
Yes. At the time, he was selling it for like $130.
Yeah.
Today it's what, like $230, if that.
Anyway,
but no, it doesn't matter. So he says, "Listen, I'm gonna send it to my buddy's office."
Okay, no, I have. I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I have to tell.
But I gotta do the man part. I have to do the man part. I have to do it.
I have to talk about the origins of my mistake and how that happened.
Okay, please do.
Because now I got to think about how to word this. Okay, so
You f***ed up.
let's go back to around 2016, 2017, and I do a lot of deals with a lot of different people all over the world, and everything somehow kind of connects with Hong Kong because
It's a hub. It's a hub.
Like it's duty free. A lot of people have offices there, so the majority of business is done around there. So a week prior to this transaction transpiring, I did a deal with a guy in Australia. So I couldn't ship the watch to Australia, so he asked me, for the watch that he purchased from us, he asked me, drop it off to this guy, and I'm not going to name any names. Let's call it John for all intents and purposes, okay? He goes, can you drop this watch? He already paid us, so the deal is done. Drop this watch off to John. Okay, no problem. Transaction finalized. He received the watch. About 2 weeks later, I purchased the watch in Asia. It was then shipped to Hong Kong. It was an RM11 White Asia purchased in Vietnam. I'm sorry, it wasn't shipped. This is what happened. It was not shipped. Somebody got on a plane from Vietnam to Hong Kong because they were unable to ship the watch. And they asked me, they're like, Adrian, where should we leave this watch?
Can I start from here?
Yeah.
So we had a friend named John who helped us out with these transactions. all while we.
It was our buddy's office. The guy who ran the office.
It was a buddy's office. The guy who ran his office name was John. Adrian, having a million WhatsApp, and with Asian names, sometimes they crisscross. Like if you walk into a room full of Russians and you say Alex, you're gonna have about 40 guys turn around, right?
Yeah.
So with that said, it was another guy whose name was John. So Adrian saying the watch is expected and somebody needs to go pick it up. He had it sold. He sends a WhatsApp to John, and except it wasn't the John that worked for our buddy's office who was supposed to pick that up. It was a different John that. Adrian,
it was the John that I just used for the Australia transaction. So when I told him, hey, can you receive this RM for me? He goes, sure, no problem. Okay. So about a week goes by, and I reach out to him, thinking that it's the other guy that I was supposed to give the watch to, and I'm like, hey, bro, I'm gonna send you a shipping label for you to ship the watch to us. He goes, what watch?
And that's when. Adrian broke into cold sweat, started kicking over trash cans in the office because this is what he does. And
used to do.
Yeah, well, you still do. And he threw his hands up in the air. It's like, and every curse word under the sun, both Russian, English, and I think even some Chinese came out of him and saying, I gave this information to the wrong John. We go back to the office where the watch was picked up by the other John. We get a video of some lady walking in there saying, hey, showing her what's up.
CCTV footage. So as I reached out to this guy John, I'm like, ship the watch for us. He goes, what watch? I'm like, what do you mean? The white Richard Mille
that you picked up.
He goes, oh. He goes, some lady, this is the crazy part, some lady gave your name and said I'm picking up a Richard Mille. Still to this day makes zero sense. He goes, some lady said that she's here to pick up watch for Adrian Luxury Bazaar.
And she showed the WhatsApp that you sent to the wrong person.
She didn't send anything. I don't know. They had no rhyme or reason.
Long story short,
we got CCTV footage of an older little lady walking into the office, and I see the wrong John handing her the watch, and she's gone. No recourse, no nothing. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, how the hell did this happen?
So Adrian has been paying that watch off since then. No, he hasn't been. But long story short, that's one horror story. When I tell you he walked around, he was like the color of the t-shirt for about a week after that stuff. These things do happen. Note to self, never make your contacts John 1, John 2, John 3, all right? Any other stories?
I love how you threw me under the bus with my ridiculous story, but you refuse to tell a story about when you were in Hong Kong and you threw a bag of Richard Milles in the trash.
I'm the trash man.
I'm not gonna let you get away with that. Tell about some customer stories.
All right, so
why don't you tell the people about this story?
So it wasn't Richard Milles. It was one Richard Mille, right? So we're in Hong Kong.
One is not enough.
We're in Hong Kong, and oftentimes, because we buy stuff daily and it only comes in every so often. Before we go on a trip, it's usually our goods usually leave about a week before we do, right? In order to get to Hong Kong on time and so on and so forth. 5 days to 7 days, right? And sometimes certain things that we purchase, they don't make it into the armored shipping, so we will send them ahead with FedEx a day or two later so that we can have a crack at them at the show. So we get a package. It was 3 Richard Milles. It was an RM07 ladies. It was a Baba Watson. And the third watch was, I don't remember, 3 Richard Milles. FedEx comes right to our booth. They bring us the watches. I sign for them. I open them back up. Everything is nicely taped by my shipping department in FedEx pouches, blah, 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 blah. I open up one FedEx pouch. Oh, nice. Put that in the showcase. Open up another FedEx pouch. Put it in the showcase. And don't know why. Somehow I was expecting 2 Richard Milles. Apparently it wasn't. I take all the stuff, I throw it in the trash. About an hour, 2 hours goes by. This one walks up to me, goes, and he's looking at a paper, like a packing list, right? He's like, so where's the 3rd Richard Mille? Where's the ladies' Richard Mille? I'm like, what ladies' Richard Mille? He's like, I'm like, there's just these 2 men's. He's like, no, there was supposed to be a ladies 07. I'm like, no, there wasn't. I opened up the package. It wasn't there. In the interim, every hour on the hour, they have a lady that walks around all the booths, and you have these tiny little trash cans in your booth, like a couple of them, and they dump it into a big trash can, and then they take the trash wherever. So at this point, it's been probably about 3 hours. The trash lady has come and gone like twice at this point. And I'm looking at the price list and I'm like, at the packing list, and I'm like, and that's when the hair in the back of my neck stands up. I'm like, yeah, thus says here, RM007. I wasn't expecting it, whatever. Long story short, we go dumpster diving. With the security team, we go out the back. We go into a dumpster and we find the 07. See, my watch was found up.
You do have some crazy luck when it comes to these things. I unfortunately don't.
You don't.
I have stories for days, and somehow they always come back to Richard Mille watches.
We're gonna cut story time short. We can tell stories for days. We're gonna leave that for the next segment. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this. We're trying to mix up a bunch of different things into one episode to, I guess, make it more entertaining. So, but you guys will let us know how that goes.
I'd like to hear from them what they want us to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to talk about a bunch of different stuff because it's going to get quickly boring if all we do is talk about watches. One more thing I wanted to do is I wanted to do a reaction on a video. What do you think about that?
I love it.
So drink to that. We're going to need a laptop. Uber. Thank you. DJ Khaled shows off his insane jewelry collection. So is it jewelry or is it watches? Let's see.
Because it's just matching my outfit and my chain. Plain Jane.
Yellow Gold Sky Dweller on the bracelet. How much? First of all, I guess it's worth mentioning it was done for GQ.
Oh, this is a year old.
And this was a year old. So how much did he pay for this a year ago? Knowing that he's DJ Khaled, somebody probably charged him an arm and a leg. He probably paid the list for it, I would imagine, right?
More.
For the Yellow Gold a year ago?
A year ago?
Nah,
whatever, 40,000 he paid.
40,000, but today it's more.
Yeah.
Right? So give him...
I'm saying clean. I mean, I think the Scotto is, what, like 50,000, right? Like it's
Stop
like
lying
a
to
50
the They're not $50,000. Even if you paid list a year ago, this would have been 40...
The list is 46 and change.
46 and change.
For that particular one.
He does like to exaggerate.
50 clip. It's important key, but this is my favorite watch. This one, platinum Rolex. I got this.
Now, this is a good one.
This is a really good one.
So the platinum Rolex Day 2 with Arabic numbers.
This is a Day 40. It's not a Day 2. This is 40 millimeters.
So a platinum Day 40 millimeter with the Arabic calendar day of the week, as well as the Arabic numbers. Now DJ Khaled is Palestinian, for those of you guys that know. So this watch is right after that.
Phenomenal seller.
It's a phenomenal. Now, what was the list on this? It was the same as any other watch.
So it would have been $62,000.
$62,000. How much are these things going for today?
90. You know,
90.
More 90 plus. Actually.
Pristine. You know, I told him that was like one of my favorite watches, so he went and found it for me. It's Arabic numbers with a baby blue face. It's more than 50. I think it's like in the 60, 70,
Pristine,
maybe 80, I don't know. It's all platinum.
50, 60, 70, or 80. I mean, we know Pristine, we work with them, and I'm sure they hooked up. He's a really good client of theirs, so I mean, it's still a hookup today because today he can sell that watch for more.
I call this the famous chandelier. I call her chandelier. You know what I'm saying?
He calls it chandelier.
This is baguette in the face, bezel, wrist, Protect Philippe. But this is the anniversary edition, big face.
Yeah.
Now, this is that kills me, right? So the anniversary, let me see what he paid for.
They have one.
I know what he charged him for it.
With the factory baguettes, but it's a smaller face. You know what I'm saying? I wanted the big face anniversary. What we did was we put baguettes all in it and it turned into a chandelier. This costs. You sure we allowed to talk about this? They try to tell me it's like M. You know what I'm saying? But I had to tell them like, we gotta work something out.
All right, so I don't know what he paid for it. I'm gonna guess he paid it closer to probably $500,000 for it. But to me, to take the anniversary Patek, what's it trading at right now?
300 grand.
I think it's more now, no?
Depending condition.
I mean, at the time he bought it, I think it was a 250, two and a quarter.
Yeah,
250.
you like 3 to 350.
3 to 350, and you know, I would not put baguettes on that watch because that's probably one of the most collectible Pateks out there today. So putting baguettes over it kind of ruins. Like, I wouldn't want to buy that watch if somebody came to me with that watch.
Listen, if I was a buyer for it, and that's what I really wanted, I mean, the
case. He does what I always preach. You buy what you like.
It's the big case size.
So, you know, we got the classic Rolex with the factory bezel. This is classic, you know, just super classic, clean.
Diamond dial, diamond bezel, day 2, 40. It's a 41. What's that going for?
So that's close to 50K today.
It's close to 50K today, but a year ago it'd probably be closer to 40. Not an easy sell.
With the factory bezel, baguettes, but we bust down the wrist piece and the side piece with diamonds and baguettes. You know what I'm saying? You know,
bad move, DJ Khaled. So you don't want to take a factory watch and then bust down the rest of the watch. You either go factory or you go non-factory because you paid an arm and a leg for that watch factory with the belt. That bezel alone retails for like close to 30 grand or something like that.
It does look sick, though.
It does look sick, but if I would have done that, I would have already done an aftermarket bezel like that because you're kind of ruining the watch with aftermarket diamonds around the bracelet and around the case. And so I wouldn't bother doing that on an original bezel, but then put aftermarket diamonds on it. I mean, I don't know. He doesn't say what he paid for it.
You know, some days I want to go bust down. Some days I want to go straight, no bust down. It just depends on the mood. You know what I'm saying? It's just a vibe. You know what I'm saying? I love this Sky Dweller too. This is something simple, clean. You know, I wear like almost every.
Blue Sky Dweller. I mean, I wear one, so you know, definitely one of the prettier.
Surprised to see DJ Khaled wear one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because
I didn't think that was his
he
vibe.
just said it. Sometimes I feel like a buzz down. Sometimes I don't.
Wear like almost every day. You know, with my basketball shorts, white tee, just chilling. I love a Sky Dweller with like a blue face. It was a gift. The rose gold Protect. This, you know what I'm saying, is something beautiful.
Another buzz down, 5980 rose gold on a bracelet. Again, I'm gonna say it's a shame. What are they going for today?
Under what? That piece is under what?
So if you take a regular 5980 today, a rose gold on a bracelet.
Yeah.
Let's say what's the price range?
Let's say at
today?
the most today, brand new, it's going to be $185,000.
It's $185,000. I would pay less. Let's say if a brand new one to be one costs itself $185, we're out there buying it for $165, $170 to $175, right? What would you pay for that as is?
Again, you know, knowing where DJ Khaled gets his stuff from, it's top quality for sure. You know
okay,
what I mean? It's,
so assuming it's top quality diamonds.
I mean, $130.
And that's the
35.
difference. This is what aftermarket diamonds do to watches, especially when you go with the hype stuff. But I still take my hat off to DJ Khaled because he doesn't care. Well, A, he's got money like that, and two, he likes what he likes, and this is what he does, and he doesn't care about value.
Beautiful. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love this bust down one, but I'd rather have it not bust down. Like I said, I always have the option, just in case I feel like
smart
busting it down. You know what I'm saying? I love this Hublot right here. This is a D-Wade collaboration with Hublot. I love putting.
Oh man, we had like 11 of those things. Wow. I could not give them away.
No.
I couldn't give the Dwayne Wade Hublot.
Yeah, I think we're in the wrong city.
Yeah, I could not give that away. But the fact that he likes Dwayne Wade, that and they're friends and so on and so forth, I can see why he would have that watch. It's not always about resale value or sellability of a watch, but believe me, we had 11 pieces. We bought them at a closeout. Our cost, I think, was 40 cents on a dollar new.
I'm gonna tell you like this: so there's a 3 on there, D Wade. If that watch had a 3 for Iverson and Sixers colorways, I would own one.
Of course you would.
White tee, you know what I'm saying? I've had this for a while, man, and that is dad's home team. It's that time. It's always time to hustle. Always time to grind. I feel like, sometimes we have different ways to glorify our success. You know what I'm saying? Some people like to buy a new shoe. I buy sneakers, I buy watches. Whatever you like, work hard and get it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. He put it in layman's terms, and there's nothing wrong with rewarding yourself in whichever way you see fit. And that's just it. I mean, I think he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, people ask me all the time what I think of bust downs or aftermarket. I say, I like it if you like it. If it's something that you love and you want to bust it down, absolutely do it.
You can get bust down watches with a variant, I would say 30 to 40%, depending on the quality of work and diamonds that are on there. Probably even more. I would argue
more. Guys like Christine out there, I mean, they're the Hermes at what they do.
Well, because they have a big name.
The stones that they choose,
absolutely,
they're the best at what they do. So, speaking of rewarding yourself, Roman, what the is that behind you?
Oh yeah, you guys know I collect guns, so I picked up a neat one, and what you noticed? I stuck it back here.
Is that the freaking musket?
This is what's known as a Miquelette. Now, this is a big one. Check out the bore in this guy. It's like almost an inch, right? Damn! Kind of like looks like a big cannon racing gun, which is what it really was back then. Now, this is a Miquelette.
Barrel.
I know. It's like I said, it's like a mini cannon. Now, I'm not going to get into a history of flintlocks and what the Miquelette difference was between a regular flintlock, but I will tell you that this gun came off of a ship that most likely was traveling to the Americas. This gun is from 1680.
Do you want me to help you hold it?
I'm good. I'll work out. This gun is from 1680, right? And it actually still works. Ready? I'm going to cock this thing. It's not going to go off, I promise. So this gun is 340 years old. This thing was mounted on the side of the ship, but it would also allow you to actually take it.
This thing looks like it went down with the ship.
Bro, it's 340 years old. And bang. Yeah, so this is I picked this up this week. This is going to my collection. I'm doing a mini museum called the Evolution of the Gun, and it started with these bad boys.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways I reward myself. So, guys, this is where it's at. I think we're done talking now. We're gonna try to mix this stuff up. All these topics and all the things that you want us to talk about and discuss or be it watches, be it a reaction to a video, be it industry news, whatever it might be, email me, email Adrian. Both of our emails will be on the screen. Give us some ideas and give us some feedback. Give us some feedback on this first. It's really not a first episode that me and you did because we've always gelled well on the screen when we talked about market updates. In fact, some of the most viewed videos out there is market updates, me and you at a trade show somewhere, which we're going to start doing shortly once the travel ban is lifted. I think our next trip is going to be to the Middle East. We're just waiting for them to stop the requirement of a 7-day quarantine in a couple of places that we want to go to because I don't want to hang out at the airport for 7 days. I don't know about you.
No, for sure not. Actually, Dubai Airport might not be a good bad idea.
You're right. Dubai Airport, you can live in Dubai Airport for a week for sure. But this is it. This is going to be us talking after dark over a drink, maybe over a cigar in the future. Let us know your thoughts. Other than that, like, share, subscribe, do all those great things that help this channel grow. And we'll see you guys next week.